Everyone, welcome. And before we do the official welcome, just a reminder that we'd like if you can keep your videos on, if possible, with your internet connection, so that we can see you and it becomes more interactive and more human that way. So if it's possible for you, do keep your video on. If not, we understand. At least if you are speaking, it would be good if you can keep your video on, at least for a moment, to identify yourself. And please mute yourself when you are not speaking so that the background noise is minimal. And also, if you have any questions, please post them into the chat box. And if you haven't gotten the message already, please add your country name to the end of your name. You can do that by renaming yourself in Zoom. So with the housekeeping out of the way, we would like to give a warm welcome to Dr. Yumiko Yokozaki, the director of UNESCO International Institute for Capacity Building in Africa. We are blessed to have her here today. And we'd like to welcome the organizers from Cartooning for Peace. We'll have Sylvain giving the presentation today, and we have Anne with us and Helene with us as well from Cartooning for Peace. And we have our wonderful cartoonists from yesterday whom you met. We have Teo, we have Ala, Zapiro, and Yemi with us again today. And we also would like to welcome the staff members from the organization UNESCO ICPA who have joined us. We have Jerusalem. She is our program officer for peace education and education for the prevention of violent extremism. And most warmly, we welcome you, our youth participants. You have answered UNESCO's call and the African Union's call to be peace builders and peace lovers by being here today. So we welcome you, and we look forward to seeing your creativity and your critical thinking today and for the finality as we approach the exhibition for this workshop. This is day 2 of Cartooning for Peace, cartooning to silence the guns in Africa using Cartooning for Peace. And yesterday we asked you to consider some questions, such as how can cartoons promote peace and what makes a cartoon powerful? Today, the cartoonists will take you into a deep dive into these questions through their presentation and their demonstrations. So the last thing before I let the cartoonists do that is that I want to inform you that we are going to be asking for your feedback towards the end of the day today by filling out a form. This form will be useful to you as you plan your cartoons and you plan your campaigns in your future peace building actions. And it's also going to be useful for us when you fill out this form, because it's going to help us to determine whether these 2 days were useful to you. So I will post into the chat box later on during today's webinar. Please do fill it out. And I think that's everything from our side. Over to you, Sylvain. Thank you.
Sorry, Marian. I'm sorry, one moment, please. Sylvain and Marian, if it's okay also to live stream the session to Facebook, Heno can do that just for the advocacy purpose, if that's allowed from the cartoonist perspective also.
I let them answer. I don't know if you're okay with that. Maybe you can knock your head if you're okay. Otherwise,
yeah, I'm okay with it.
I'm fine. I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you very much, Marianne. Thank you, everyone, for being there for the second day. I see that we are quite a few people, so it means that you were all motivated to be there for the second session. So first of all, once again, thank you for the engagement on the first day. Thank you for the one who sent me also for the homework. I should put my hand on my back because I'm blocking my microphone. And so, yeah, so thank you very much and welcome for this second day. I just want to start with a brief reminder of what was done the first day through exercises and through presentations. We went through what was a press cartoon, and I was quite interested and amazed to see all the great answers you provided last time. So to remind briefly, so we said that it was a graphic representation of an event or a social issue, because that's what Jonathan Zapiro was saying, that it could be sometimes relating and really descriptive, describing an event, but can also be conceptual. And so we saw that sometimes it can represent also an event in general or a news event, a social issue. Then it's an opinion, observation from the author, which with the aim of informing and raising awareness among other things. And that we said that for that they use a kind of some tricks, some techniques, using the caricature, the satire, the irony, the metaphor, comparison, allegory. We mentioned all that during the first day. So that's good to keep in mind when you are going to work yourselves, but the cartoons will probably go back on it with you. And then how it could be used, then it's most of the time related to the press, but I would say that not only, also sometimes the press is also more and more online. So cartoons are they took out of the press, let's say. They were evolving with the press for many years, but now we can see cartoons on different supports, and it can also be used in streets, as we saw in schools, for education and for campaigns. That's what we are going to do. And so we work about how I can read a cartoon, and I hope you understood a bit how to read a cartoon, but I've seen from the exercise, I've seen from what you said the first day that you know what is important to do to understand better cartoons. What do I see? What do I understand? And then express your opinion about the cartoon. And I think that's important to consider, that you consider what you see and what you understand also when you have a look to a cartoon. And then today, as Marianne said, I won't go through it, but today will be more practical, I would say. We'll practice cartoons and we'll work with the cartoonists on how to make a cartoon. So it will be a really interactive day. So just I wanted, you see, I said it was interactive, going to be interactive. We'll start with an exercise, which is quite an interesting one. Actually, we are going to project, we'll put you in subgroups already, you know, just to warm up with the cartoonist. And we'll show you 4 cartoons where actually a piece of text, you know, a title or a text box has been erased. We want you to work first individually, to think about the title that is missing or the text box that is missing, you know, and then you can discuss. And I hope the cartoons can help you as well sometimes to, you know, go through the cartoon and say, okay, what do you see in this cartoon? You know, what are the elements you see that can help you to find also the text, because the text is sometimes, some cartoonists don't put any text in their cartoons, but most of the time they are quite an important element of cartoons as well. And so, yeah, finding the text or the title, the text box, and then do it by yourself. And then we'll discuss with your colleagues what are your suggestions. And then at the end, you will present your answer, your group answer to everyone for each of the cartoons. So I let Henok maybe switching everyone in groups, and we'll come back in like 25 minutes. So maybe first start with 2-3 minutes on your own. And then after that, you share your answers with the subgroup, and then we'll share it with the on plenary session with everyone. And our colleagues can help with the PDF to show the cartoons, the empty cartoons I sent this morning to everyone. If you could help to put them on the screen and share your screen, that would be great. So I'm leaving the floor to Henok to help setting up the groups. Is Henok there? Okay, I see everyone is disappearing, so it means that you're on doing it for the moment.
Hi, Sylvain.
Hi,
give me
Henok.
1 minute. I'm just, yeah.
Go ahead.
Hello, Sylvain. Do you want to join in any of the groups?
Whatever, yeah, you can. I still see that there are a few people here, but myself, yeah, you can put me wherever you want. Or maybe, or otherwise, we can like last time. Is it possible or is it complicated?
Orange, okay.
We got like 5 minutes to think by ourselves about the drawings I'm showing. Can you see that? Okay. So as Silva explained you, we need to think about something to fill up the bubbles or make a new title. So maybe we can think by ourselves for 5 minutes and then we speak about it in a group. Does anybody have a question and understand what we have to do?
Hmm? Huh?
Mhm. We all on mute, okay? So everyone is there? I couldn't hear anyone, so I thought that was.
Yes, we are back.
Okay, excellent. So how did it go? I hope I went through the different groups. It seems that it was quite active, and it seems that everyone found answers to every cartoon. So yeah, there were 4 of them, and I will maybe let one representative of each group giving one or maybe sometimes there are 2 different answers to each of the cartoon. So giving the floor to the different groups. Which one want to start?
I'll start for
Go.
Orange. Am I the one presenting or anybody interested to do so from our group? Okay, I'll go ahead. So for the first one, we said nowhere to go.
Mm-hmm.
So we're picking. I'm picking one from each. I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Or should I?
Please. No, go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. And for the second one, we said you're not welcome here.
Mm-hmm.
He's telling the bird that she's not welcome here. And for the third one, we came up with missing father. I don't have a father, or my father is missing.
My father is missing. Okay.
And for the fourth one, we said, let's take a picture with this lion, or this lion is going to make me go viral. And he doesn't care about the lion, just taking pictures. That's all.
Okay. Yemi, I'm just asking because it seems that no one sees the cartoon I was sharing, but do you see the 4 cartoons or not?
No.
Who's sharing? It seems that I was sharing, but it seems that someone else is sharing, so it means that I can only share. Okay, let me see if is it just me? Not me. Is it better? I'll switch to another one. Excuse me.
Yes.
For the, just looking for the PDF. I was just like, here, is it better?
Yes.
Okay, sorry for this.
No.
Okay, thank you, Yemi. Thank you for the group orange. The other groups?
I shall present for group yellow.
Okay.
Yes, I'm Bramwe from Kenya.
Hi,
on the first cartoon, we said we said extremism in Africa. Then the second one, we said can't find your name on the list.
Mm-hmm.
The third one, we said I don't know my father.
Mm-hmm.
Then the last one, the fourth one, we said strike your pose. And we also we gave also as the last answer as my best caption. Those were our answers.
Excellent. Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Next group. We're all impatient to see the answers.
I can go because one of our team members who's supposed to be presenting his internet connection is not great, so I'm gonna do it instead. So the first one, which way is Africa? And also we had another one that we like also, it says where's the future? The second one, I come in peace. And the third one, we had I wish I had a father, or I have no father. And the fourth one, we didn't have so much time to come up with a lot of suggestions for the first one, but the one we had is this is just an animal.
Excellent. Thank you, Ella.
Will I go for our group? Unless there's somebody from our group who would like to present these. So I'll run through what we had to do it quickly. The first one, we also came up almost exactly the same title. Which Way Africa was the one that seemed to be the clearest. The second one, which is incredibly clear as a cartoon, we had two people who came up with the exact thing. You're not on the guest list, or I don't see you on the guest list, which is perfect, spot on. And then the third one, our group really struggled with that. We don't, unless somebody has some suggestions that they put forward now, we didn't during the group come up with anything. We found it quite difficult, I think. And then the last one is oh look, my new pet, and some of the ideas put forward were also about the idea of sort of social media, only being interested in social media and that sort of thing. Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Perfect. So I think you are all looking for the answers, no? And so here we go for the first one, the cartoon from Brandon. It's from South Africa as well. So actually, you see, you were close. Actually, you realized that there was a compass, and so there were directions and so on. So here, as we said, which way is Africa? Actually, you put it as a question mark and so on. And here you see, it's called the migrant's compass. So it's I think the idea you gave in the different group, it's really close to what he said. in his cartoon. And you see some, yeah. There is the second one, and I think we have a kind of almost a 100% good answers. No, here, huh? I think we were really good, and you know, this one is really clear. Sorry, really straightforward, and you see that's the interest to see that you are in a peace conference, and you see the dove, which is representing the the symbol of peace, and see that they use symbols and the symbol of peace in this. So there are many things that that could help in the cartoon to explain it as well. And I think the most important one is the one of the dove representing peace, which is not invited to a peace conference, which is quite problematic, I guess, with people fighting on the back of it. And we have the one that, a few people found complicated, but it seems that in terms of answers, you were almost all right, if I'm not mistaken. I'm looking for my father. I'm reading from my father. What is a father? So I think, we said it slightly differently. You were all good there. And then the last one, this is a little selfie before you become extinct, I think. And here we go. We had good ones, I think. Which group was I? Which was with the group of Yemin. There were even people inventing some hashtags like hashtag save nature. Was that? It was Karine, I think. This one was quite
yeah.
good. This one was funny. Okay. So it was a warm-up exercise, but you see it takes a bit of time. But that's also a good reminder of what we've done the first day. You got some theory, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I saw you in the groups. You were analyzing the details, seeing a bit the elements, and just trying to come up with some answers. Also, not always exactly the same, and that reminds as well that we may have the cartoonist has an intention to pass, but sometimes you can understand it slightly differently, and that would be important as well when you will make your cartoon. To think of your audience, to think how they can get it as well, and see how elements you can put, if you want to put humor and this kind of thing, to get your message passing. Because you see here you have a bit of irony there. Some of them are really more straightforward, So you see, that's a good way also to see the variety, the diversity of cartoon. So it was a warm up. So now we are all ready for the next steps.
Can I say something, Sylvain?
Yeah, please go ahead, Tayo.
Okay. I really like the cartoons and the contributions as well. And I want to emphasize that for all the aspiring cartoonists there, I want to emphasize that a cartoonist is also a very good writer. A cartoonist must be a very good writer and storyteller, and that's essential to drawing cartoons. And I think one of Zapiro's cartoons that I still makes me laugh till today is a Macarona cartoon.
Yes, we should find it. Maybe I will try to find it and we'll show it.
Yeah, it took a good writer to be able to write that out and draw out that Macarona cartoon. So what I'm emphasizing is that it's not just about drawing, it's also about thinking, and it's also about writing and making sure that whatever you write or you put down as a drawing is understandable. And most of our contributions, you can see that we all more or less spoke with one voice or one understanding of what most of the cartoons are all about. And that's essential for a storyteller, as a cartoonist, as a writer as well. I just say I should chip that in for you for some of us to understand and enjoy.
That's an excellent point, Tayo. Thank you very much to add that to the question. That's really useful. Showing for the information, the cartoon you're mentioning. Maybe in a few seconds, Zapiro, you want to explain this one? If everyone can see it quite.
Sure. Well, you realize that now that you put that up, you run the risk of my actually singing.
Yeah, but I liked it. I heard you singing, so that's why I'm doing it.
It just disappeared from my screen. Is it on? Is it on everyone else's?
I think so.
Macarona.
I'll have to get it. How come
okay.
Actually, I was actually singing out the cartoon, singing the song along with the cartoon. I was going to my friends. Look at this, and I was singing this to each one of them.
Right, find it again. I'm sorry. Here we go. Is it better now?
There we go. Okay. Okay. It says, well, obviously, this was right at the beginning of the idea that it was actually going to affect the world. It wasn't just something that came from China and was now, it had gone to a few different countries, and we were all about to go into lockdown. So this is the 17th of March. That's, so going viral, and that's the original meaning of viral, which we now take to mean something in social media, but the original meaning is a virus. So it's got a double meaning here. So going viral, the macarona, keep your social distance around about a meter. Don't shake hands, use the elbow or the feet. Avoid big crowds, you should rather be alone. Ay, macarona. Sneeze into your elbow, it's essential hygiene. If you're symptomatic, maybe self-quarantine. It's all gone global from Beijing to Barcelona. Ay, macarona. Clean hands often with hand sanitizer. Listen to official medical advisor. Ignore fake news when it pings on your phone. Ay, macarona. Conspiracies, forget them, and religious polemic. It's not God's fury, it's a viral pandemic. Don't trust Trump, he's a fucking morona. Ay, macarona.
Excellent, congratulations. So that's a good way. We can also campaign in singing if you want. We can switch to another exercise. Thank you, Zapiro.
I suppose the point that Tayo was made, thanks Tayo for what you said about the cartoon and all like that. And but yeah, with this kind of cartoon, it sometimes takes a couple of days before, I started thinking of suddenly the idea of the coronavirus, and I was thinking, that sounds a little bit like the Macarena, Macarona, and then I started. I write these things. The writing is absolutely crucial. I sit and I write, what am I trying to say, and then I write these things as concepts, and then I've got to find ones that sort of work together. And what am I trying to say in that first line? Slightly different. Then, so it's a very, you start grouping things together, and so this kind of cartoon, comic strip writing. Well, Tayo also knows all about. And many of us cartoonists occasionally work in a sort of comic strip, and then, or sometimes even if you're writing a cartoon that is in two parts, one on the left and one on the right, or three parts, one on the top and then another one, and a long strip and then another. You've got to, you're trying to find out what is the punchline, what you're trying to say, and how do you build up to it, and does it demand time like this to say it, or do you want to say it in one panel? It's about how you're trying to say things and what you're trying to say, and whether you want it to be lots of dialogue and lots of information. So we can discuss those things as we move into the sort of workshop time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. That's the kind of questions that we will be raised during your time of drawing as well. So yeah, thank you very much for your interventions, Tayo and Zapiro. I'm switching to, and don't forget that it's recorded, Zapiro, so it's nice we have a recording of that singing as well, which is nice. I'm just sharing again my screen, but on the presentation again. So now that we have warmed up and so on, I wanted to go back to the homework that you've been working on. I received answer from a few of them. We don't have much time because we really want to have enough time to draw, but I will just go through a bit of the answers because some of you sent me some cartoons that picked up, and also answered the question of why we can use cartoons for a campaign. So I would just leave the floor to the different kind of people who sent me an answer, and maybe we'll leave some time for the others if they have anything to add, of course. I got one answer from Atinuke, who wanted to share the cartoon. Maybe Atinuke, if you want to speak about it.
Hi, sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, so I think what I wrote was pretty self-explanatory. I said that it's often said that a picture speaks louder than words. So for me, I was generally not someone that was that would be normally interested in politics and but I was able to understand what was happening in the world through cartoons many times. I'm not one to be interested in America's politics and everything that's been going on with Trump and everything, but I've been seeing a lot of cartoons around, and those cartoons have helped to explain or depict how Americans actually view Trump. Not majority of Americans, but like some Americans, not everyone. But it helped me to understand what was actually happening in the country better, helped me to understand many things actually. And the other thing I wrote here is, okay, yeah, I think that's everything that I explained. Also, for the purpose of literacy, some parts of Nigeria have very low literacy levels, and when we had the NSAS protests going on, there weren't so many cartoons, but there were a lot of visual representations, and these representations really helped people that were not literate to understand exactly what the youth were fighting for. And I think that was very important. So I think cartoons also serve the same purpose in that they explain with as little words as possible. So yeah, that is my answer. Thank you.
Great answer. Thank you, Atinuke. I don't know if anyone wants to react, maybe the cartoonist or so on, about what was said. No. Okay, we can move to the next one. Someone, yeah, go ahead.
Just that point is so strong. The idea that what we're trying to do here is communicate with cartoons, and I gather that not everybody is studying, art or media arts where you're going to be always drawing cartoons, that sort of thing. So the important thing is about communication, and that is fascinating that memes and graffiti and things that are put on walls. Well, Allah actually works both on walls and in other kinds of media. But that is the wonderful nature of this sort of communication, that it can work across different genres in different spheres of society, and on whether it's in social media or on a wall or on a piece of paper or on a political pamphlet or in a newspaper, or all of these. There's some similarities about how one is communicating in all those. We're using words and images in a very simple form. Yeah, that's a great comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Mariam, if she wants to say a word about the selection of cartoon, because you said that you were interested in that cartoon. But Mariam, you want to say something?
Yes. Yes. So this cartoon is drawn by at Matthias Draws on Instagram and Facebook, and I chose this cartoon because it speaks volumes, especially in line with teenage pregnancy, unwanted pregnancy, child pregnancy in Africa, where children are giving birth to children. And as you can see, this is a very young girl who is pregnant, and if you look closely, the fetus within her womb is also pregnant, showing that we in Uganda, we have women who are grandmothers at 22. What does that mean? She gave birth at 12 and her daughter equally gave birth at 12. So this picture just shows how futile the situation is and how grave and dire it is in Uganda and especially Eastern Africa. I don't know if you can see the small fetus within the baby and
yes.
the fetus within the mother. Mm-hmm. And equally, the wings show that these are angels. These are babies giving birth to babies, and most times they die due to the exacerbated effects of pregnancy. So the wings show that the likelihood of her dying and probably going to heaven is high due to the effects of teenage pregnancy. And it means that there's a cycle of inherited chronic disadvantage where the children are born with disadvantage, and at the same time, their children equally inherit that disadvantage. So we can just see that cycle going on.
Okay, thank you. And that's a topic you want, that when you chose that one, it's because that's a topic that matters to you, and that's one you really want to maybe campaign about during
yes.
this. Okay.
Yes, actually, at the moment, there is the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence is happening, and one of the effects of gender-based violence includes sexual harassment, forced marriages, all these different things. And this picture in itself is a picture I'll be using in the campaign against GBV and fighting child pregnancy and teenage pregnancy. This is why I was very passionate about it.
Can I say something? Can I say something, Sylvia? Sylvia?
Yes.
Marion, that's very, very impressive. And you're a very good storyteller, and you could be a very good writer as well. And that image speaks volumes as well. And not only are you writing or drawing about it, you're also raising the awareness, because the much you have said, I didn't know about it. You start saying them out, and it's nice for me to be where I am, to know what's going on there, and to see how I can be part of it as well through my cartoons as well. But that's a very good image, and that's a very good, fantastic description of what the image is all about.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, and welcome to. I will come back because it will be interesting. I see that the artist Matthias draws. There is another one of that person, but we'll
actually that artist is with us. Yeah, he's with us. Maybe he can introduce himself, but I think he's with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Matthias, yeah, because yeah, it just I just realized
Yes,
that 2 seconds ago.
I gave him a concept. I gave him a concept of what I wanted, and he brought it to life in a very amazing way. And each time I have something to do in line with cartooning, while I may not have the skill to cartoon, I have the ideas, and he always brings it to life. So this was the concept I gave him for the campaign I'm leading, and he really delivered more beyond my expectations.
Well done.
Okay, maybe Matthias wants to react.
Yes, she gave me that that concept a few days back, and I did my best to at least to help her, and especially those who are illiterate who may not be able to read text. Because most Ugandans, many people don't like reading books. So, but when they look at images, they are very impressed, and their attention span is very high. So I try to make this image as simple and as interesting as possible. Yeah.
Excellent, great cartoon. Maybe we'll switch directly to you because you have the speaker, and if everyone can see, actually, you've done another cartoon you shared with me. So you picked up one from Zapiro. I don't know if it's big enough. I will try to, but it's hard to do better. But you took one from Zapiro and then you showed another one of yours here. It's difficult to maybe up. I don't know if we can see it. Maybe you can first tell us why you chose the one of, you say Martin Nephews, you have another name online. So sorry if I took the email address you gave me, but no, we know that it's Matthias who sent this cartoon of Zapiro and then sent one of his cartoons as well, another one. So if you want to say a few words about that, please.
Yes, I chose Zapiro because it speaks a lot of what is happening in Africa. We have leaders who feel they are untouchable, and whenever someone tries to stand up against them, they are always ready to flex their muscles to punish and to trample anyone who tries to go against them. So I felt like it spoke a lot of what is going on in Africa, especially Uganda itself, because we find a lot of leaders behaving in that manner, the macho man behavior of leaders. Yeah, that's why it was quite interesting to me. That image by Zapiro.
Okay. If it's not too small for everyone, maybe you can zoom on your side as well. It says, we may have pushed him too far. And we say state capture inquiry at the back. And maybe Zapiro can say a few words if you want to react to that, because actually that cartoon was selected by someone else, Edgar. Maybe first Edgar want to say something about this cartoon, and then maybe Zapiro can answer. Why have you chosen that one, Edgar? You say that it applies and partly describes the political stress in my country, Uganda. So I don't know if you want to say a few words about that. You're there? Yeah, maybe a problem of maybe in the chat. We'll check. Maybe you can, your connection is maybe. No. Okay, but so maybe if the time you take, if you can reconnect, maybe, but we can maybe leave the floor to Zapiro, and then maybe telling us why he did that cartoon briefly.
Okay. Well, first of all, Matthias, I'm so impressed with your cartooning ability. Brilliant and absolutely wonderful stuff. So, and thanks for picking this cartoon. As it happens, the sort of feeling of it is exactly what I was trying to show, the way you described that. But the circumstances are a little bit different because yes, if you looked at this and you didn't know what the state capture inquiry was all about, or the fact that Jacob Zuma has been trying to escape the law for 1.5 decades and trying to escape this inquiry into his own corruption, and eventually walked out of the state capture inquiry. This is the chairperson of the inquiry, a judge, a very good judge, but he's been quite mild-mannered. He's been very quiet. He's been listening to these witnesses, some of whom haven't really been cooperating, especially Jacob Zuma. So Jacob Zuma and his lawyer, eventually they walked out of the Commission of Inquiry, and Judge Zondo, suddenly, we've been waiting for him to get tough, and we want to see him. So it's not quite that situation of the strong men of Africa who are clamping down on free speech. It's not that thing. It's like, thank goodness, where they push him. You know, the Hulk, always the Incredible Hulk, when he gets angry, he eventually bursts out of his clothes and he gets tough. And we've been wanting to see this because Jacob Zuma has been escaping, taking account for all the corruption that he's inflicted on the country. So this was my saying, yes, great, fantastic. At last time we're seeing Judge Zondo getting tough on corruption and on Zuma. But anyway, thanks for, I think the idea, the feeling of it is what you were describing, but it's slightly different circumstances.
So thank you very much. So we're running a bit out of time, so we'll just try to move a bit fast. I want to leave a bit of time for everyone. If you could be really short, maybe Ronaldo, about your choice. We see one with. We were speaking about the United States a bit earlier. So you took a cartoon from Zapiro again. Knife Edge Election. I win or damn gets it. And once again, depicting the political arena in Uganda. Maybe Ronaldo in very few words. No. Okay, we can come back to that, but maybe Bosco, who chose one from Allah, wants to say a few words about it.
Yes, is my audio clear? I have some problem.
No, that's normal, but no worries. And you want to?
Yes.
Or maybe write it down. We read it if you want to. We can read it if you want. Okay. I'll just move maybe to Bosco and maybe you write it down and then we can move.
Yes. Thank you so much. I think why I chose and why I believe can do relevant humanitarian, you can read, and actually why I chose this cartoon from Lala is that as for this lockdown, especially in Uganda, there's a lot of cases of teenage pregnancy, and the rate of resumption to school, especially young girls, has really reduced drastically due to the impact of the lockdown. And I believe these ladies need capacity building, and building that capacity is going to be very vital in ensuring that they continue with life and also give life to the future, especially for the young girls. So I believe a campaign strategically focused on building the capacity of young girls, because who are going to be handling these babies is very paramount to give them the better future. That's why I chose cartoons so that we focus specifically in building the capacity of these young girls to either continue with the school or to protect formatively. And that's briefly why I chose that cartoon for Adlan. And briefly why I believe these cartoons are very relevant for campaign is exactly the way I wrote it here. And I believe cartoons are very important in passing out messages to wide demographic population, be it children or adults or youth. Cartoons is very relevant in giving them information and can capture their first attention, and analyze and later impact accordingly as the message that is going to be passed out through these cartoons. And I believe cartoons are very relevant in passing out great messages of change and for taking positive side of humanity. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. So you are breaking a little bit, but I hope everyone could hear. But I really think everything was written on the screen as well. So I think we got everything. So thank you very much. Nice cartoon as well. And thank you for the description. Maybe we'll just move to Cyprien briefly. We chose one from Yemi, if I'm not mistaken. No, it's not yours. It looks really a lot like your style, Yemi. Cyprien, maybe I will write it down. Okay, so Cyprien took that cartoon to promote a campaign towards the prevention of the coronavirus pandemic in Kenya and in the world at stage. And because he said what he wrote down is that he thinks that he started by noticing that a lot of Kenyans were wearing the same mask again and again, putting themselves at risk. And for him, he said that in this campaign and this cartoon, which looks like really a prevention cartoon, doing prevention, these cartoons and the use of cartoon can help to send a message on why it's important to wear once the non-rewashable face masks. So it's really identify a problem, and he really wanted to tackle it and then do some prevention and raise awareness about the importance on not reusing masks for health reasons. I don't know if I hear some sound, so maybe it's him. I'm sorry, Cyprien, if I interrupted. But...
Okay. Yes. Okay. So, just as you've said, I've been seeing a lot of people today use the same masks again and again. I think probably because a lot of them may not be having enough resources to purchase the ones which you can use them again. So if you walk around in many places here, you'll find most of the masks are actually dirty, and not just because they're dirty also, but also it puts them on a risk of again getting the virus, because the ones wear mask, it's not very strong and it's weak actually. So if you use it over and over again, it puts you at a risk of contracting the virus or the disease. So I chose this cartoon because this cartoon was helping us to promote people just when you use the mask once, you dispose it off and you try to get another one, and that helps one prevent the increasing numbers even of the COVID-19 cases here in Kenya. Thank you so much for that. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Cyprien, and my apologies to Yemi. I went too fast, but because I saw you will see some cartoons, and for me, you see some cartoons that some the same style, and I really saw your style there. Sorry.
I was going to say that here's a an example, educational cartoons as well. It's and informative. That's what a cartoon can do also, to educate. So if people don't understand, you can, with a drawing, Celeste cartoon, with a drawing, explain or get people to understand what it means to show that through their mask, and make sure that they bin the mask. So this is a very good educational cartoon in which many people will understand without putting too many words in.
Yeah.
Actually was involved in this campaign with Celeste. That's why I say that this is now mine, because mine is also the same like this one, but in Amharic, so that it's in local language.
Yeah.
She did it for the Kenyan community. I did it for the Ethiopian community.
You see a few things because I think I saw it on your Instagram. No?
Yeah,
Okay.
that I think that's the reason. Yes.
They're the different languages, but the concept, the whole idea is still the same: to educate about binning the money properly, putting them in the right, throwing them away the right way. And that's a very good one. Also, Yemi as well. Well done, Yemi.
Okay. Thank you. So we are a bit, more late, but actually there were a lot of interesting conversations. So I might be a bit impolite with the rest, but we still have one person. So we'll finish with one person, and then we'll have maybe a 5-10 minutes break and start again, and start in a few minutes. But maybe Iunolowua, you wanna say something briefly? Okay. So it's a cartoon from Bruce McKinnon, but it seems that the connection, the signal is not necessarily good. But she said that she found it interesting because it shows how a rape victim is silenced even by the justice system. I hope to discuss this cartoon better at tomorrow's session. That's what, but unfortunately it seems that the signal is not good. But yeah, it seems to be a topic which is quite important. And I'm not mistaken, Zapino, I think I would show later a cartoon of yours as well, and you will see. That's interesting as well. Speaking about symbols, the symbol of justice, which is with balance, which is quite, which is often used. And as I said, this one reminds me one of yours. If I think, you use the same symbol in this cartoon here, with the lady having the balance, and I think on the same topic actually, or kind of similar topic, if I may.
And here the Jacob Zuma one, I think I remember that one.
Yeah, there are quite a few. Okay. If we can have for the ones who send their cartoons, I just saw a few cartoons coming a bit during the session. Maybe we'll try to put them together and share them with the group. Then we see we have the answers of everyone, and we're sure that everyone can present the cartoons as well. Maybe later in writing to the rest of the group. That would be also a great way to do it. So we wanted to continue with maybe in a few minutes, if they can really be short, explain why they use cartoons for a campaign and how in a few seconds, because as we said, we are going to speak about it maybe during the drawing session. But first, maybe 5 minutes break. If we, no, it's 1:23 on my side. Let's say we start again at 30, if you don't mind, and then we'll try to do it fast. Then you have enough time to draw together. Okay. Thank you very much for your contribution. That was really nice. That's why it was intense, because there were a lot of discussions already. So thank you for that.
I want to hear Alan speak as well.
Yes, of course. Yeah.
So we come back 12:30, yeah?
Yes, please.
All right.
Here I am. If the one who are back, if they could put their camera on, then we see who's back. That would be great. That's a really short break, but I know that a few people may have to leave a bit earlier today, so that's why we try as well to stick with the planning, and as we want you to draw and take enough time to draw. Hope you won't be too hungry. Yeah, okay.
We start?
Yes, let's go. Let's go. And then anyway, everyone can join. What we wanted to do, because you know the interesting thing here, we heard you about the way you see your campaign, the campaign you want to do, how you think cartoons can help to that, and so on. And there are already a lot of discussions and really interesting discussions that can help for the next exercise. But maybe I wanted to leave the floor a bit more individually to the colleagues. Sorry for Zapiro, who's not in the list, but I forgot to add it because this morning we were not sure if you were already being here at this time, but of course you will have the floor as well. But maybe starting with Yemi and Ala, just explain a bit also why and why and how they use cartoons for campaigning as well. So I don't know if any of the colleagues want to start. Yemi or Ala, maybe?
Okay, I'll start.
Go ahead, Yemi.
Okay. Actually, there is this cartoon that I want to share. Should I share my screen?
Yes, I will stop mine then. Stop sharing my side. Okay, go ahead.
Okay. Okay. Can you see it? Yes?
Yes,
yes, we can see it, yeah.
Okay, so we can, yeah.
Can you see it? Oh, okay. Okay, so first I would like to say a few words about what campaign cartoons are. For me, cartoonists who use campaign cartoons they always have they're warriors with an agenda, and they use humor and intelligence to slide under people's defense mechanisms, because humor is always easier to make people less agitated. So the goal is to reach people who disagrees with you, and when people laugh, of course, it's always easier to convince them. So for me, campaign cartoons are voices for the voiceless, and it's a way to speak about the injustice in the community, and it's also about speaking about the change you want to make in the society, and it's about making people think so that they can take actions. So in this cartoon, you can see that this was made for the Prime Minister office, and he launched 2 years ago, he launched a campaign to plant 200 million trees in a day in an attempt to be put in the Guinness Book of Records. So I put the tree so huge because 200 million is a huge number to make in a day. But it shows that if people come together, that it is possible to do so. And if people come together, it's also possible to stop the environment degradation that is happening in our country. And I'm actually passionate about the environment, not because like everybody's talking about the environment, but because Addis Ababa is really polluted because of a lot of construction, and we needed a lot of trees, and we planted 200 million in a day, and that was good. So this poster was made to be call to action poster, so that it tells people to think and then to go out and plant. And if we come together, we can always do anything. And the other cartoon that I wanted to share, let me see. Is this one? It's also about the environment. Can you see it? The polar bears.
It's still the same. We still see the same.
So. Can you see the polar bear or no?
No. No.
Okay.
So you can redo it. Yeah, you can redo it.
Okay. So yeah, this one is also about the environment that was made. The polar bears, because of global warming, the polar bears, the ice is melting, and these polar bears don't have a place to be. So these human beings are gathering the ice towards them so that they have a place to be. So this is also about global warming, which is a very alarming issue in our world right now. So to conclude, I have also done others about women's rights and about the coronavirus. I'll share them with you later, but one thing I would add about campaign cartoons is I would say they are made so that people can think about a certain issue, the agenda that you want to transmit, and then they are pushed to make an action with your cartoons. So that is all I have to say. Thank you for listening to me.
Great, thank you, Yemi. Great, that's quite clear. So yeah, really, thank you. Maybe we can switch to Ala if she wants to. And you tell me if you want me to show something. You can share your screen, or you tell me if you want me to show something.
You can put your presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me see. Where is it? No, that's not the one. I'm sorry. I'm just putting the other one. It's easier. I will put directly the PDF. So, the PDF. Here we go. Can everyone see?
So yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. Okay, excellent. Please go ahead.
So hi, I'm Ala, and my work mostly is campaigning for women's rights or racial justice or social issues more than political issues. And because as Yemi was saying, it's like cartooning or humor or art in general kind of provides like a very safe environment for people to discuss issues if it's not easily discussed, or they are considered taboo issues in our society. So women's issues has always been something that's kind of pushed to the side when it comes to dealing with them in Sudan. It's something is always that doesn't get brought up very easily, and even when it does, it's kind of dismissed also very easily. The cartoons that you see in the screen are all from last year during the revolution in Sudan. So there is a hashtag that I started that was called "We Are the Revolution," and the aim of this whole hashtag was to highlight the women's participation in the revolution. If you have been following what was happening in Sudan, most of the protests were very much women-led, and women were always not also trying to advocate for a better political environment or a social environment for everyone, but also trying to communicate their own demands. And this is something that's always been said, like, oh, okay, this is not the time to talk about women's demands. We have to focus on putting the government down, or coming up with a new government or a new regime. So what women were asking for during these protests were always kind of dismissed in a way, even though the last regime or the last government was very much very unfair to women, and women were kind of the main casualties of that regime. So in a way, I wanted to highlight or document what women were saying, or what they were asking for during these using these cartoons. And when it got a bit safer, because at first it started in social media, and the whole purpose was not only to get something out of our chest or to communicate what we want, but also at the same time to inform the world what was happening in Sudan, because international media, of course, wasn't present, and the local media was very much owned by the government that we're trying to overthrow. So we were acting not only as artists, but also as journalists, or trying to campaign and advocate for what was happening in Sudan, telling people why there are so many deaths and who's killing these protesters and what we're trying to achieve out of these protests. So it started on social media, but at some point when it got a bit safer during the sit-in, most of the work that were circulating in social media became street art, which is something that I feel like one of the main achievements of this revolution, the street art that generated during that time. Because in Sudan, of course, not everyone has access to social media, and not everyone has access to internet. So having that work there out there in the street kind of made it easier for regular people to communicate and have some sort of relationship with the artworks they were seeing every day. And it was very important to me that a lot of the murals that I do to be directed to women or to talk to women, because usually as women, occupying public space in any way is kind of hard. So having work that speaks to us and about us was to me very important. Actually, the mural that is shown in the screen, that's the only one that's not in Sudan. That one is in Kenya, but it says revolt, but which means thuri, which is revolt, but in Arabic it's kind of the verb is directed to women specifically, not yeah. So yeah, this is mainly what I wanted to say, that using words to campaign for certain issues is important, but also it taught me that it's using the medium or where to show that work is also important. The murals got more attention than the work that I was posting on social media, just again because not everyone had access to social media. Not everyone can unless you're following me on social media and you know me personally, you can't see my work, but seeing it in the street like this was it had more effect and it had more interactions from people. So yeah, this is what I have to say. I'll give the more time to Tayo and Shapiro now.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Ala. And it's quite powerful. Thank you. And I really like that mural. Is really great. I like it. And just a question about the murals. Do you have any troubles when you start drawing on the wall? Do you ask authorization? Do you have to ask authorization, or is it a bit of a kind of wild work?
At first, when it was not very safe, I used other techniques than painting. I wanted to show my work in the street, but at the same time, taking like paints and brushes and painting, that's a lot of causing a lot of like a lot of attention
Noise.
to myself. Yeah, so that can get me in trouble. So I used to do wheat pasting, which is basically printing my work on large pieces of paper and then sticking it to the wall very quickly. At first, I was doing that when it wasn't very safe. And then when it got a bit safer, it was not that big of an issue. In terms of trying to ask for permission, most of the walls that I drew in actually belonged to people. So it was in people's houses, and all I have to ask is permission from the owner of the house. And of course, everyone was hyped up and everyone was into the spirit of the revolution, and everyone wanted an artwork painted in their houses. So that wasn't a problem asking for permission to do that. So yeah, everyone was very much excited about what was happening artistically, not just politically. So
Okay, excellent. Thank you, Ella.
Okay.
I don't know if Tayo or Zapiro want to go ahead. Tayo? Or Zapiro, I see you want to say something.
I thought Tayo should go first. I also I haven't sent you anything for this, okay. So I can talk. I've got a few things that I'll show, but maybe Tayo can go first if he's.
Yeah. Okay.
I
lose one, Tayo, but maybe you want to show your screen as well. Or I can help you with that as well.
Okay. Do you have any of my? Oh, there are my images there. Okay. All right. So I do it. I don't do campaign cartoons from time to time, but I like the contributions of VME and Allah as well. That's fantastically said. And what's good about campaign cartoons is also to embed in people's minds what you're trying to put across, and that's well said. That's well defined by Allah and Yemi as well, and the wonderful works they have as well. So and as cartoonists, I always believe that we have to be also careful that if people don't tend to want us to start doing, instead of campaign cartoons, push us into doing propaganda cartoons as well, because they are propaganda cartoons as well. So you have to differentiate between that, even especially when you're commissioned, because in that way you're able to know the difference between a campaign cartoon. And one of the campaign cartoons is even that campaign that cartoon about putting the mask in the bin, in the trash, is a good campaign cartoon as well, which is educating about the importance of being safe. Campaign cartoons could also be cartoons about AIDS, could be about poverty, could be about famine. It could be about various issues whereby you want people to be aware of what's going on around you, and that's what's important as well. In my cartoons as well, I used to, if you can see the Cameroon cartoon, like I said, I've said that before, that can you all see my cartoons? Yeah. Good. All right. The Cameroon cartoon is when people, like I said, when people were when there was news about the American elections, there was a riot in Nigeria, and no one was paying attention to the issue of Cameroon, the issue of the children, students being killed in Cameroon. So I raised that awareness through my cartoons, and it got good views as well, because people now were aware of what's going on in Cameroon. Someone even said, I didn't know that was going on in Cameroon. And in Cameroon, there's this issue between the English-speaking part of Cameroon and the French-speaking part of Cameroon as well. And where the students were killed was the English-speaking part of Cameroon. And like violence is going on in there. So there's a bit of tension between the English-speaking side of Cameroon and the French-speaking side of Cameroon. And that's what I use this cartoon to bring up. Also, if you look at Nigeria, Nigeria has gone through a lot. And I always believe that if Nigeria, as a Nigerian myself, that Nigerian has gone through a lot. I was in Nigeria when the first civil war, when the civil war happened. So I know what the civil war is all about. I know how I had to dive under the bed when sirens were ringing out there. So I'm aware of these ongoing things through the years in Nigeria. And then the latest has been the Boko Haram, the Fulani herdsmen, and then the killings in Lagos recently. But in the long run, you see that the whole thing is all about spilling blood of innocent citizens as well. And that's why I said in this cartoon that nobody cares, because all these things were going on. And we have a president for 4 years who's not even made any impact in international affairs. And people are doing all what they can. They're just doing anything they can do because the world leader is not, the leader of the nation of the world is not actually paying attention to it. So through cartoons, you can also use a cartoon to campaign about this and bring about the awareness of what's going on. And the third one, which is no greed, no need. Oh God, no greed, no need. Sorry, I just realized I need to charge mine. So I just got that in time. Yeah, no need, no greed. In the main, the needy are put in the position, in the condition of the need by the greedy. That says it all. And it's more like a campaign poster as well. I did it for someone to highlight how the greedy politicians, the greedy people, wherever they are in the world, in third world nations, don't care about the poor. The rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. And when it comes to and the poor people as well, most times, what do they understand? Most times they put guns in their hands, and so they start killing each other. Meanwhile, the rich are living isolated in a fortressed place. They don't care about the poor. So I try to raise this awareness through my images, and I use different styles and techniques to be able to put across the message. So that's basically much of what I do, not necessarily as a campaign cartoonist, because I do, but it's good to know that when it comes to the world of cartoons, it's very diverse. I think Zapper spoke about that earlier on, where you can do so many things. You can use your cartoons in books, in magazines, in newspapers, on the website, but still put across a message or messages and through your images and speak volumes with your images. I know for a fact that if some of the drawings I've done, if I was in Nigeria, I would have been arrested for them, or my cartoons would not have seen the daylight at all because of my hard-hitting images and graphic cartoons. So I hope this explains the much that I do and how we can use cartoons to campaign about issues that is dear to our hearts as well. Is that Piran?
Thank you. Thank you, Tayo. Thank you very much. We just have, like, if you could, 10 minutes, and then we can switch to the exercise then to make sure that everyone can participate. Please go ahead, Zapiro.
So we've been trying to send. Sorry, I was not necessarily going to be able to be here the whole time, so I don't know if Sylvain got anything from me earlier.
I got this because and I chose this one because I think it was never again. I like the slogan of trying to. Well, I'm not going. I'm telling my opinion, but you will tell me if you think the other one was interesting because it was about press freedom and about the killings of journalists, and one about women's rape and murder, and I thought it was interesting maybe to.
Okay, good. I've now got some other things that you may have in very different, very different style, things that I've done for campaigns, for actual campaigns. See, as a cartoonist, I would say in the last few years, well, the last couple of decades really, I've been working mostly as an editorial cartoonist. So most of the sort of advocacy, most of the kind of whatever kind of campaigning I do is through the cartoons themselves in the newspapers or on the digital platforms as part of these media groups that I work for. And these were all done in that particular way. And perhaps if those others arrive, you might be able to show them they're very different. But the one we looked at last time already, the Never Again, definitely the idea of trying to prevent genocide, trying to silence the guns. We talked about that one quite at great length, so I won't go into that one again. The one at the bottom there, the press corps, that's a pun with, obviously the idea of a press corps is a group of people who are media people who are assigned to follow certain stories, but a corpse, of course, is a dead person. And this was done for World Press Freedom Day. We were, and in fact, we were in Ethiopia, and that was where it was being commemorated, World Press Freedom Day. Still shooting the messenger. 99 journalists killed worldwide last year. So it's a very simple idea of the journalists who are trying to bring the news to people, bring news and views, news and opinion, and they are being targeted by the powerful who are threatened by the exposure of the news and exposure of those opinions, and they are being shot and killed. So it's a very simple cartoon to illustrate that for World Press Freedom Day. The other one is, of course, it's the same campaign that was mentioned earlier, the 16 days of activism. No, sorry, this was actually Women's Month in South Africa. Women's Month with South African Women's Day is the 9th of August. It commemorates a day in which women stood up against oppression during apartheid in 1956. So they have the whole month is Women's Month. And as we got to the end of Women's Month, yet another Women's Month where we heard a lot from politicians, we heard a lot of hot air, we heard a lot of people talking about we've women's rights and all that, but there were so many cases in a very violent country, and in a country where it's incredibly dangerous for women and for children. So these were actual cases, raped and murdered. There were so many of them. I didn't even put names, but that was at the end of the month. You see Lady Justice, also a woman who's been brutalized by what is happening to women, and there's no justice for so many people. There not many people even get prosecuted, let alone convicted for these crimes. So that was, I suppose you could say, campaigning. Sylvain, have any of those others arrived so that you could show them?
You mean you sent me cartoons by email, you mean?
Yes, by email. Because otherwise, if you wanted it, if they haven't, you can easily, if you can put me.
You can share your screen actually if you want. There is a button at the down. I can stop, and then you see at the bottom of your screen there is a shared screen.
Yeah.
You can do it. One participant can share.
And well, why is it doing that?
And then you can choose the window you want to share.
Oh, sorry. So
otherwise, I got yours. It just arrived. If you want.
Oh, okay. If you can put them up, then I don't know how quickly you can get them there, but
which one? The one
any of them.
Any of them? Okay.
The big poster, UDF poster, is a good example of a very different kind of thing that I've done over. So I must stop.
Doing it, yeah. I'm just doing it right now. Up, here we go.
Okay.
Should be this one.
Yes. Okay. That's that. So that one. This is a drawing I did back in a poster I did back in 1987 for the United Democratic Front, when the ANC the African National Congress was still banned, and I decided to try and do something that would show the kind of joy and exuberance and spirit of people fighting against apartheid, because most of the time it was so dark, and there were actually some very good and vibrant events taking place, and this was especially in the Western. This sort of represented the struggle in the Western Cape where I live, and the slogan of the UDF is "Forward to People's Power." And so it shows, if you look closely, which you won't be able to do now, but you'll see it's the police and the army getting you know, people getting the better of the police and the army, which didn't often happen. And you'll see that there are pigs. There's some in uniform, some not in uniform, that represented the police. Right in the middle, there's Archbishop Tutu leading a march. There's so many different things. And what happened when we put this out as a poster, people collected these and they found any little space on them where they could write their own slogans from their own different organizations. And they wrote, so it's quite a big poster. I mean, I've got it here next to me. It's quite large, so you can find space to write things. So it was the first thing that I did that got me noticed by the security police and the police, as well as by people in organizations. It was really wonderful to be involved in this. When I was detained by the security police, when they arrested me late at night and took me to prison and started interrogating me, this is the first thing they asked me about. And that was already a year and a half after I did this. Do you want to show the other, if you can get any of the others up? And but you can see it's a very different style from the kind of drawings that I do usually. Okay, see, it looks like if it's not coming up, I can show you something. This is another thing that I did with a little collective. It's a trolley full of rights. Yes, it's a book done in kind of comic style. So, and it's about children's rights. And this was done in 1993. So it was even before we became a democracy. And we were talking about those kind of rights that we wanted to, but we were still in the transition from apartheid. And this book was used by UNESCO later. And it basically talked about the children having the right to their own bodily integrity. If nobody should touch them if they don't want to be touched, and what they should do, and it tried to give them a series of things that they could do, and who they could speak to, and how they could speak if they found that they were having problems, how they could stand together, that sort of thing. So it's as you can see, very different from the kind of stuff that I have in the other cartoons. I don't know if there's a third one that landed.
Yeah, here we go. Should be this one.
Yeah.
Here we go. I'm just. Oh, but can you see it? Yeah, I can. I don't have to. Okay. Can I see this one?
And
no.
Okay. So the third one was, yeah, it's a poster for the election in 1994. I was asked to do the official poster for the election commission, the IEC, the election commission that was running the election. And so it also, like, as you can, if we see it anyway, the idea is that the style that you draw, I mean, like looking at Yemi's drawings for campaigns as well, you often want people to be kind of naturalistic size, and people that people can identify with. I think Taya was also talking about that sort of thing. So it's not harsh conceptual drawings, but drawings where people can you can actually identify and look at the drawings, see yourself in that sort of position. Sorry if that one doesn't come up. It's but you, even looking at these kids here, you know, I draw differently when I'm doing this sort of thing than when I'm doing the editorial cartoons. You know, it's the same sort of thing. That's basically what I wanted to say.
Yeah. I was gonna say that that's a good point that Zapiro's the points the artists, the cartoonists have made a la Yemi and Zapiro. That's a very good point. Good points you've made as well, because when it comes to drawing cartoons or illustrating, you have to be flexible in the way you draw depending on what your client requires. So you have to look at what they want and be able to know how you have to put that across as well. So you will see styles and techniques of cartoonists varying from one to the other depending on which medium or which medium or what platform these works are being used. But most importantly, like Zapiro said, and campaigning is also to be able to use that to be able to embed in the minds of people what the issues are all about, and that's well said.
And this one is, sorry, it's a bit of a bad reproduction. It doesn't look as good as it should, but there were no democratic elections in South Africa. You have to understand how racially segregated we were. There were only whites only elections, and then there were other little puppet elections for other people. So I had to imagine, I spoke with the election officials and had to try and imagine what an election would look like if everybody was participating, who would be there, which officials would be there, not to be alarmed if there's somebody standing with a bib behind you or there's a security person outside. The police had a terribly bad reputation for good reason. So then you had the election officials and the UN representative, all that sort of thing. I had to try and imagine there were no pictures of anything like this. Try and imagine what this would look like to educate people and to make people feel that they could participate without violence in this election. And it was a lovely project to do. It went all around the country with they printed 300,000 of these with different languages on. This one was in Afrikaans. So yeah.
I see 3 languages here at the bottom. Okay, thank you very much. I'm sorry to conclude abruptly, but time is flying, and I think a few people have to leave. So that was, and I think we'll switch directly to the exercise, because actually what I've just realized is that we don't have to add anything to that. I guess everything was said, and you said that perfectly, everyone. And thank you for sharing, because we see different ways of doing campaigning as well, and once again different style and others. So I think I hope you learned quite a lot from that, and I'm pretty sure you did. So what I wanted to say, you see, we had a few other examples on our side, but I think I'll just share them later on. It's no big deal. But then I wanted to go directly through the exercise, because it's your turn when we don't have much time. So again, we'll, based on what you heard from those during these 2 days, and we already learned a lot from you as well, because we were seeing so many interesting things about the campaigns you want to do and the way you want to do them. We suggest to go through subgroups again with a cartoonist and start working, actually. So there are different ways of doing it in subgroups, or you discuss together of the topics you want to highlight. You can select one or others. You're really free to do it the way you want. And then the cartoonist can draw on her side or his side, and it can be a collective cartoon, and you can also draw on your side your own sketches or cartoons if you want together. But the idea is really to try to dialogue, try to work together. But once again, I will leave each cartoonist working with you and let you all discuss together of the way you want to work on this. It should be really a free exercise. So that's it. And maybe I can ask Henok, apart if someone wants to add something, maybe Henok can switch us to the subgroups.
Yes, sorry, Sylvain, before we move to the groups, is Jonathan going to stay with us?
Yes, huh?
Yes.
Oh, okay, great. In that case, we can do, because I was thinking that he might leave us early, so we are regrouping it into 3 groups. So in this case, maybe we can use the 4 groups, and I will check with Enoch and come back to you. But in the meantime, you can explain, and if someone has also a reflection, we can discuss on it. Give us 5 minutes.
Of course, go ahead. Maybe someone has questions about the exercise, so I can remind again. 4 groups, you will be together with the cartoonist. You can keep asking questions, and the cartoonist will explain them a bit how they work as well. And as I said, you can work on a kind of collective cartoon. As far as that's when Matthias was working on these cartoons, and a few of you were working already together on cartoons. I think that's the kind of thing you can do. I will come back to this cartoon you've done together, Mariam and Matthias, for example. that's some kind of exercise. You can think together of ideas and then make the cartoons can draw with you. But as it's nice also for you to draw your own cartoon because they will have an exhibition in your own campaign, I suggest you try to work as well on some cartoons your side, taking benefit of the techniques and what you learned, and you can share them with us later on. Like taking a picture or scanning if you manage to. We'll find a way, but don't hesitate to enjoy. That's also a time you have to enjoy and have fun as well, because I think that's important as well. This kind of job, and I think the cartoonist can see.
Do you have a layout of a cartoon? You know, a cartoon layout.
Excuse me, who's talking? It was not maybe for everyone, because I heard a voice asking for a shape of a cartoon. Does anyone have any question maybe to the cartoonist when we are waiting for the subgroups?
What is
this? No? Otherwise, I can briefly show you other campaigns. This one, you know, that's a campaign we've done with the UNESCO. It was this year on the 3rd of May. About it was it's the International Day for Press Freedom, and then yeah, we worked with the UNESCO to pick up some cartoons on the topic, which was the press and COVID-19 during the pandemic. And so we've worked, for example, with the UNESCO on such campaigns. Then here you can see sometimes on our website on some important dates we try to put also cartoons from our colleagues about some specific topics, and this one was during the World Children's Day with the cartoons about child labor here. So that you see, that's few examples on the way we can use cartoons for campaigns. And you see the last one is about, it's an individual cartoon made for an individual. It's actually, you know, we are a network of press cartoonists, and so most of the time when cartoonists from one place in the world
Hi, Sylvain. How long is this session?
Are in troubles for cartoon censor, or even worse sometimes stand for
Maybe just to finish on 5. To finish on 5, can we make it 45 minutes, 40 minutes or 35 minutes?
40, let's say 40,
40 minutes.
40 minutes, 40, okay,
yes,
okay, yeah. Please go ahead.
I just want to say one thing before we go into groups. To the participants, I have shared the link to the survey form in the chat box. Please fill this out. You can do it right after the session for the most rich responses. Again, this is going to help us to see what you've learned over the last 2 days. It's also going to help you to plan your next steps.
Please, that's important to us. So that would be great if you could find 5 minutes to fill it. That would be really helpful. Thank you, Marianne. You did well reminding it. In the meantime, I'm also sharing, so I try, I'm not mixing the link sent by Marianne, but I'm just sending to everyone also a campaign. We are just, campaign is more about a review of what happened during the year during the pandemic, and I'm sharing a release that has been done by Reporters Without Borders, and that is illustrated by cartoons on some of the topics they've highlighted in their report. So just for your information.
Okay. I can't hear now. Right. Join.
Hello, Duran. Can you hear me?
Maybe we can wait a little bit more time to have some other people joining the group.
Duran.
There's an answer. Hi again, everyone.
Yes, Sylvia, we are back.
And that's busy and challenging to work in online on cartoons together. So that's, I think everyone is learning, but I think the idea is to keep in mind that the idea was the meeting, was the dialogue, was to learn things, and you started all together to sketch some things, but that's just the beginning of the process. You see, I think everyone is going to continue the work afterwards and getting inspired at what has been done, what has been made by your cartoonists. I saw some people starting a few interesting things, but so the idea maybe now is to see if there is any cartoon that went to life, even briefly. Does anyone want to show briefly the cartoon, group by group, maybe what you've started to do? And once again, it might be only a sketch, but that's good also to hear the idea of campaign you have found and such ideas. Does anyone want to go and show to the rest of the group what has been done?
from Kenya, Bramwell.
Yes, please.
I would like to share mine. So give me a few minutes, please. I share.
Excellent. Okay. Okay. What's the cartoon about? Yeah, we see.
Are you able
it.
to see mine?
Yes.
So mine, mine. I have named it. It is no leader.
Okay.
No leader.
No leader.
Then from my extreme left, yes. Then from my extreme left is a leader who is saying funny. He is saying funny, and in his hands he's holding a bag which is named BBI. Then the leader is being shadowed by a policeman who is very powerful. And the policeman is saying, keep quiet, noisy idiots. Then we have a small crowd there with around four individuals who are saying, just hear us. And they have the issues down there. Then their issues are no water, poor health, injustices. I was also to add no education, poor roads. So this situation implies that we have leaders who forget the agendas of the people who elected them. Then they come with their own agendas. Like for our case in Kenya, a small crowd represents those governed, the citizens, who have these are what they want their government to do, to deal with the water, deal with health, deal with the education. But their leader is coming with something about their constitution, and the leader is claiming that what the people are saying is just funny, and the leader is making the policeman to make the crowd to be quiet so that he can present the ideas he has to the people. So my cartoon implies that leaders are not realistic. They are not realistic in the sense that they forget what borders what affects the people they govern, but they come with their own issues, wanting the people to listen, but behind they are shadowed by power, which are the police and other arms of government. I can also welcome your views about my cartoon, though poorly drawn.
Thank you very much, Bramuel. Maybe someone wants to react. I hear something about freedom of expression as well in this cartoon. That's also an important dimension of it, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Does anyone want to say something, maybe the cartoonist, and briefly, just briefly? But congratulations, thank you very much, Bramuel. It seems that you haven't, taken a lot of elements, try to understand and put it in a frame. I think it's really interesting, yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, shall I say something quickly? Certainly, you've articulated what you're trying to say very well, and some of that is coming across in your cartoon. I like the fact you've got the kind of oppositional thing. You've got the larger figures. You've got the smaller figures. All of that becomes quite clear. One thing that we didn't get to in my group, I don't know if anyone else did. You see, it's not about how well or badly things are drawn. To start with, you're trying to get an idea across, and you're starting to get your idea across, and that's the important bit. But one other thing is that when you're thinking at this stage, the idea of brainstorming, the idea that you can keep on thinking slightly differently. You can keep, at this stage, you can do another quick drawing and another one. And then maybe you'll find something more conceptual, like let's say they are trying to speak, but whatever they're trying to speak through is being the sound is being stopped by the policeman or by the bigger forces. So you at this stage, ideas are things that you can keep throwing around. You can keep changing this idea, keep moving with it, and make it clearer and clearer. So that's something that is very important. The idea of brainstorming. You do little drawings, ones that are quick, that don't take you too long. You don't get too stuck on anything. It's the most important thing when you're trying to do either a campaign drawing or a drawing for media, for a press cartoon. You've got to be able to keep moving, keep thinking, keep doing quick drawings, so that you can change your ideas and you know, they don't get stuck.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Zapiro. So yes, here it's the first step. Actually, you put your ideas, you started to frame it a bit, and then you can go one step further and put another level of info, as you said, some techniques, like you said, maybe something stuck or some, you know, someone talking and then it's cut with scissors, this kind of ideas that can help to illustrate your ideas, if I'm not understanding you well. Yeah. Well done, Ramiro, thank you. And
thank you.
And in the group there was a creative cartoon, I think, if I'm not mistaken. Was that with Yemi, the group of Yemi, or the group of Ala? I think Kenya, no? Or Yemi, you were starting?
No,
it was you, Ala. Did you draw something together as well?
There was another idea from Karen. The main theme was about empathy and about kind of police trying to put themselves in protesters' shoes. So she had the slogan of "Stop Killing, Start Understanding," and the visual she had in mind was kind of like a police officer putting their vest in, like making, what is the word? A police officer hanging their vest on the protester to kind of protect them. So yeah, it's kind of to show empathy and goes well with her slogan. And also we had another cartoon that if by Corazon, if I'm saying your name right, I'm sorry. But if she had a very nice cartoon also about people hanging from a cliff, and then the government is just asking them to sign like a petition or something from in the phone. So it's the lack of empathy of people actually going through stuff, and government is thinking in a completely different direction. And she had a nice drawing that went with it as well. So if you want to share it, that would be really nice.
Please go ahead, Corazon. You want to show it, or?
It was a really good one. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, that was my cartoon. We had a leader asking people to sign a petition. That is the BBI report, like in Kenya. But people are dying of hunger. People are dying of COVID-19. They have no protective gear. The nurses are dying, but they are not exercising empathy towards them. Yeah, that's about my cartoon.
Try to put them just trying. Okay, thank you very much. Okay, I see. Oh, here we go. Just found a new option and a new way of doing it. Okay, we see it better now.
Very good. Yeah.
Very nice, and it's a very exaggerated scene, and it's very funny as well. So it's really, I love it.
Mm-hmm. Thank you very much, Corazon. Excellent.
Okay, thank you too.
Okay. Other groups, how did it go? Maybe any other proposal?
So I was in group Uganda. You called me, right, Silva?
Yeah, yeah, please go ahead.
Okay. Our group was Uganda, and we came up with 4 options for drawing. We discussed it, and we had female genital mutilation, children that suffer due to domestic violence because of their family, and we had justice for all, and we had women periods. Those were the agendas that were raised. And we picked one. Everyone liked the children that were suffering in the domestic in a violent house, and we didn't have time to finalize everything. I don't know if anybody came up with a cartoon of them for themselves, but I'll share mine now. Let me share screen. Share screen. There we did. I hope you can see it. We didn't finish it here. Actually, the lady that came up with it can speak. She came up with all the concepts. Sorry, I forgot the name. She was good. Her name was Hillary. So she came up with the concept. The kid should be the judge, and she's pointing at her family. So I really liked the concept, and we picked it and we drew this together. We had a good time, and I would like a group member from Uganda to share their cartoon. And I'll stop sharing now.
Excellent, thank you. Great, a nice idea as well. And so feel, as I said, feel free to the others. Yeah, as Yemi said, we'll find a way for you to share your cartoons. If it's not now, might be a bit later. You can send them by email or somewhere if you can find a way. But please liaise with us, and we'll find solutions together to make sure that we can see all your cartoons and share them with the rest of the participants. Any other group?
Our group, we had some problems. So first of all, we couldn't see each other. I don't know whether it was difficult for people to, for us to, we just couldn't, it was that sort of held us up a little bit. We had some good discussion and we got some good topics, but we really didn't get far enough in producing things. Some of the best ideas and angles that were coming up were about women's rights and children's rights. Aisha was putting forward some things about that, and eventually talking about women, the right of women or girls to be educated. And we were just starting to get to producing something when the end of the session came. The general idea of silencing the guns, there were a couple of people who were talking about that, and who was it? Ibrahim, I think, was who put that forward. I'm sorry, I forget, but somebody put forward the idea that maybe was that Aisha again, that guns are in Somalia. Guns are like shoes. You know, people they're so people just wear guns, and I thought that was fantastic, and I thought that was promising for ideas for a cartoon, and for how everybody wears a gun and there's not enough of other things, or there are too many guns. And unfortunately, we didn't get that far with that either. We also had some discussion. It was Duran who wondered whether cartoons are always the right way to put forward ideas in societies that are very repressive, very not very literate, where people take things literally. So we had some discussion about the idea that different kinds of representation, different kinds of cartoons, like some of the ones that the different cartoonists showed earlier, can work in different circumstances. Not everything is going to work in every circumstance. You're not going to be able always to do a very, very powerful, hard-hitting, satirical cartoon. You might get arrested, whatever. You may have to do smaller things that change things in small communities, that sort of thing. So I'm afraid we don't have a huge amount that we can show, but I think there was an interesting discussion that came out of the group.
Well, that it's promising, and yeah, it seems that there are good ideas maybe that can be developed a bit further. And if our colleagues from the group can share their ideas in writing or in a way, we can maybe continue working on this, or maybe they will continue with their own ideas in drawing as well. So thank you, Zapiro and the team. And Nigeria, if I'm not mistaken, with Tayo. I don't know if you want to.
Yeah. Yes. Inyu, where is Inyu?
I'm here.
Okay. So explain again. What's the ASU, the union, university union in Nigeria is all about?
Okay. Nigerian universities have several unions, the academic and non-academic union, but our topic for discussion is the academic union. That's the ASU. So they have been on strike for the past 8 to 9 months this year as a result of different issues and demands they're making from the government, such as increase in salary, payments platform, and by payment platform, the government has been trying to get them on a particular payments platform, but the academic staff feel like it doesn't work with the university system. Also, they have been fighting for the revitalization money for the development of federal schools and also earned allowances for lecturers. So they've been on strike for the past 8 to 9 months. So schools have been grounded and people are not able to make progress with their academic degrees. And so typically it's like a tradition in Nigeria where every year you expect strike from the academic staff. So once you enter a federal school, you really don't know when you're graduating. Of course, it has a lot of emotional, mental, and psychological effects on students. And yeah, so we tried to depict the effects of ASO on the university system and on students generally. So this shows the emotional effect and also the fact that you feel this weight of slowness or dragginess on your head because as you is on strike, you can't make progress with your academic pursuits, and other people in other schools or other countries are making progress, but because you're in a federal school, you're not making progress. So we try to depict that in a cartoon. So that's basically that.
And in addition to that, well, we just did a sketch there. Usually when I do sketches, I don't arrive at the final sketch because this is just like a draft. Most times with cartoons, it develops into something else. My first sketch is not the sketch I ever draw, but it just develops into something else. So while the idea is there, I can go back to my drawing table and improve on it in the way I would love to do it. And while she was talking, I thought to myself that, hold on a minute, this is the reason, it's the frustration of the university students that led to the riots, the protests in Nigeria, where some youths were killed as well. So when universities in Nigeria are not functioning properly, that's what's going to happen. It's going to bring out anger out of people, and they start protesting against the government as to what they're doing to the future of the students in Nigeria. So what we've done this like the union with obviously the what's it called again, the cap, the graduation cap, and with like a kind of a time bomb. It's been on there for years now. I don't know why the bomb hasn't gone off since anyway, because even before I left Nigeria, the union, the universities were always on strike. So and the degree is a bachelor of what did I say, bachelor of frustration or something like that. You know, and in the background, you can see a building on fire as well. That's a university building. But in order for me to draw the right university building, I have to look for a reference, a picture of what one of the university buildings look like in Nigeria. So this is in essence one of maybe a few sketches, because anytime I'm even commissioned to do drawings for people, I do about 3 to 4 sketches, not just arrive at one idea, but one idea would lead to the other one. So thank you, Inyolu, for this. That's what we arrived at. And like I said, it could be improved upon, but it's a matter of time. This is just for our own viewing on this platform. Yeah.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Tayo and the team of Nigeria. That would actually, I think, because time is flying, and I want to say congratulations for being so patient, so resistant, because we've been there for quite a few hours now, and I would say only for that and for the cartoons you've already made, we should have a round of applause, I guess. But you know, even if we are all on our own mute and side of on our own computer, we might not hear much. But I think the idea is there. And seriously, congratulations! It was really amazing this time we spent together, and see already some results. As I said, it's only the first step, but. No, you know, that's the first thing I want to say. It's thank you and for all this. It was really nice time, really dense, but really, really, really nice. And I really hope you enjoyed that. I will just maybe share my screen again for the presentation, but I think we're coming to a conclusion finally. And then the idea is just now maybe to leave the floor to Marianne, if she wishes to speak about maybe again the evaluation. And then maybe for the next steps as well. But then I wanted, as I said, to thank everyone for the involvement, everyone for the time spent and so on. And as we said, maybe share with us information and so on. I know there were already questions, messages the first day, and today we'll try to compile everything and try to answer your questions and so on, and see if the cartoonists, maybe somewhere addressed to the cartoonists, feel free to, we'll try to share their answers with you. I think Tayo had a message, I think, if I'm not mistaken, because it seems someone contacted him on Facebook, and that person he left a message, and if I lost the message, but if that person can write again, that would be great as well for Tayo to get the message. And so yes, I'll leave the floor to Marianne, then she can speak about the next step and then conclude for everyone, and maybe you, Jerusalem or Yumiko want to add something. Thank you very much, everyone.
Yes, thank you, Sylvain. Wow, that was just so inspiring. What a rich discussion we all had. You could just feel the inspiration and the energy in the rooms and in the air today. Just wow, so good. I think really hard to top this one today. I was getting so excited in the last session when everyone was making their cartoons, and I could just feel that it was going somewhere big. So now it's up to you, our youth participants. You're going to be making your own cartoons and then submitting them to us so we can exhibit them in our platform the end of December. So we're going to email you some instructions for how to send them to us. It'll also be on our website, instructions for how to submit them. And maybe Sylvain can also mention that at the end, like if he has any guidelines or any final words about the submissions. But we really want to display your work. This is all about you and your ideas. And these days we're hopefully planted a seed of skill and inspiration in you to consider this type of work and messaging. I think something that we really heard today from the cartoonists, and we heard a lot from them today, was the unique medium that this is and the unique freedom and courage that is embodied in it. So really excellent. And I just want to end with a quote from one of our participants who already filled out the survey, which I hope you all will. Third time mentioning it. So, but a quote that someone just wrote in the survey is, we asked them, what was the most important thing you learned from the speakers and cartoonists? And he or she wrote, promotion of peace starts with me. Cartoons can be very important tools in promoting peace. So I think that's the message. And I want to thank you, Sylvain, Anne, Helene, for your work, for your organization, and to the cartoonists for all your insight, Tayo, Allah, Zapiro, Yemi, and to Jerusalem, the thinker behind this, and to all the participants for all of your work. Back over to you, Sylvain, for any ending tips or suggestions for submission and for the exhibition.
No, thank you, Maria. No, and thank you to everyone. I think it was a collective effort. We all brought all that together. As we said, it's online, so it's not always the easiest way to communicate. But no, everyone put an effort in it. So I'm really glad it was really a collective effort here. So no, thank you very much, everyone. Just speaking about the next step, yeah, I don't have any instructions, I think, because I don't necessarily know what's the technology of everyone, or you know how you can handle that. But I think any cartoons you have, what I would suggest maybe is, if you had an idea but you do not know how to draw it, maybe draw whatever you want. It's free, you know, we're not judging, we're doing together. Just put your brief or your ideas, you know, even though you don't feel like your drawing is perfect or whatever. The most important, as I think Jonathan said a few times, put your ideas. put your presentation the way you want to present. Sometimes, as we said, you should be a good writer to be a good cartoonist as well, and should have good ideas. You should be creative. So if you don't feel like drawing or directly, please send your ideas. That's already something, and we can maybe do something out of it as well. Maybe your cartoonists will be inspired by your ideas as well. Who knows? That could be also great. So share your sketches, cartoons, and whatever. You can scan them, take a picture, and you can send them to my email address or the one of Marianne, because I think you already got my email address for the homework of the first day. So feel free to share them with us. We compile everything and we'll sort it out and then come back with you with let's say a calendar for the submission of the cartoons and a calendar of display of cartoons. And so thank you very much again, and thank you for this opportunity. Any questions you may have, please feel free to share them with us. Okay? And maybe the floor to, I don't know, Jerusalem or anyone, and otherwise we can call it a day. And once again, thank you to everyone.
Thank you. Great.
Bye. Have a good afternoon and good evening.
Great.
Thank you.
Bye. Bye, everyone.
Thank you very much. Bye.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Jerusalem, I'm staying online.